Hey you guys, what is up YouTube? It's DJX Chip here, and I am in a game against a Terrakion, and I am a Caphagrius once again. Unfortunately, it did a double hex by accident there. Fortunately, however, this Chansey is faster than me, and meaning that I should be able to get off at least one Will-O-Wisp. But luckily, he kind of makes a bad mistake here, goes into a Sableye, and is left on 1 HP, so I'm thinking, right, I'm going to rest up here, because unfortunately he does kill me, however. So I'm going to go into my stalling Jellicent, and he's actually going to send out a Swampert, which is just going to be like the perfect thing for me. However, he does have an Earthquake, and my Will-O-Wisp misses once again. I'm not having too much luck in this game. But there we go, confused. I'm now going to Confuse Ray him. And now he's confused. I can now recover up, knowing I have a reasonable amount of safety. I can then get a sub up, which is just going to really be a stalling kind of method here. And I'm then going to recover up again because his burn is looking like it is going to kill him reasonably soon. And with a Confuse Ray on him as well, he shouldn't be causing me too much problems. However, he does send out a Ferrothorn, which means I'm in a bit of trouble here. However, I do manage to get a Confuse Ray up before he manages to hit me with an Energy Ball, and I'm going to start recovering here because he's not doing a great amount of damage. However, he is doing enough to break my sub each time, which is a bit unfortunate for me. So I'm then going to get a Confuse Ray back up on him because this is going to be quite helpful for me winning this. However, without me even realising, I can directly threaten him, which I'm going to do right now, which is going to be with my Nidoking, which doesn't have stab on the flamethrower. However, it's going to do a lot more damage than any of my others other than Heatran. But I kind of want to save Heatran for late game, where he's going to be a lot stronger against some of the kind of weakened Pokemon. However, he does send out back out is Terrakion, which could do quite a lot of damage to me, and me just realising that kind of luckily missed the Focus Blast, which allows me to go back into Jellicent. I can then recover up with him just doing not enough to kill me. I'm then going to Will-O-Wisp him, hoping this is going to hit him, because other than that I would die. I can then I'm going to then switch out to, I don't really have anything else to switch out to. I'll go to my Heatran. It's going to take that nicely, kind of go for a flamethrower, which I think is the best option. I think I'm going to get rid of Giga Impact on it because it's just a waste of time, because it really doesn't do that much. And Heatran, using a flamethrower, even though it's not very effective, takes out that quite quickly. And I'm going to now use a Brick Break on this Chansey, and that's going to do a fair amount of damage. I'm then going to U-turn it, which is kind of going to be my counter to its counter. However, I do get a crit with the U-turn, which is just what I needed to get the Jellicent back out without having to switch Pokemon, because it would have practically been a death fodder otherwise. And with 101 HP, it should be able to live a hit from a Charizard. And even better, it just completely misses. So I'm then going to use a Confuse Ray, see if I can get that up quite quickly, which I can do. Use a Substitute, which is going to kind of help me here, so I can recover up once again, get myself back on full health, then Will-O-Wisp him. Just didn't use Will-O-Wisp, it doesn't even tell me why it's not working. However, I am going to have to Confuse Ray him again, and he comes back into this, and at this point, Heatran is a direct threat to him, which is kind of what I wanted from the beginning, and I know he's going to send out Charizard here, but to be honest, oh no, he sends out a Terrakion, which was quite unexpected, because Terrakions are basically physical attacks, which is quite a problem for him. I'm then going to send in a Stalling Jellicent, who's going to then switch back out to an Archeops, which I'm sure he didn't expect one bit, which he probably didn't, looking at he switched to a Ferrothorn. I'm going to use Dragon Claw because it's kind of the best move he's got, which does a tiny bit of damage. However, he has been Leech Seeded once again, so I'm going to go back into Heatran, directly threaten him, meaning that he's going to have to use something else as a death fodder if he wants to keep this Ferrothorn alive, which isn't going to be too good for him. However, he still does have the Charizard, but I'm going to Toxic it, just get it out of the way, go back to my Jellicent here, which is going to take a Heat Wave very nicely. I can then recover up again, which is going to be quite nice, getting him just under 400. However, with the leftover, he's back on 400. I'm then going to Confuse Ray him, which is going to be quite helpful. And then, I don't know what happened there. Nothing happened. He just called Charizard back. He's then sending out Ferrothorn. I'm going to Confuse Ray this Ferrothorn. Bring out the Heatran. Threaten him once again. And he's only on 2 Pokemon. One is Poison, one is Burnt. So he's basically game over for him. So I'm going to send him a message saying good game. But he probably will leave in a second. And with Charizard left on his own, he's not really going to sweep a Heatran. And especially not a Jellicent. And he sent me a message saying, shut the fuck up, faggot. Which isn't very nice. But I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. I really enjoyed playing this guy, even though it looks like he didn't enjoy playing me. So please rate, comment, subscribe, and watch the next one.